Hoy, Aaron! Ay, perfect, Fabian. Perfect. Yeah.
Hello. Hello. I got a kick. Hello.
Call with the number. Call.
इधर आ मैडम
Call button. Exactly. Exactly. Ah,
हाँ ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ
ಏರ್ಪಟ್ಟಿದ್ಯಾ
ಇಲ್ಲ हाँ ಅದು ಆಮೇಲೆ ಅವಾಗ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ ಹೋದ್ರೆ ತಿರ್ಗಾಯ್ತಾ ಆದ್ರೆ
Hello, hello, hello,
ಆಗಿದೆ ಸರ್
hello, 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 hello. Oh, I need you.
ಇದು ಬೋಟ್ ರಾಕೆಟ್ ಬರೋದಿರಲ್ಲ aspects. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು
I request the audience to rise up as the chief guest has arrived. Democracy must be built through open societies that share information. Where there is information, there is enlightenment. When there is debate, there are solutions. When there is no sharing of power, no rule of law, or no accountability, there is abuse, corruption, subjugation, and indignation. We must speak our mind openly, debate our disagreements honestly, but always pursue solidarity. Good morning to the August gathering. I am Prerna Anai from grade 10 and I heartily welcome all of you to MES Man 4.0. Light symbolizes knowledge and the dispelling of darkness. May I request our principal ma'am to kindly lead our chief guest to light the auspicious lamp.
Sir, which side, sir? Actually, we're saving this. Sorry, sir. Sir, we're saving this. Sorry, sir.
ಇಲ್ಲ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for the beautifully rendered song. Now, I request grade 9 students to kindly escort our chief guest and our principal and vice principal to the stage. Thank you. May I call upon Ms. Madhumata Jaikishan of grade 10 to welcome the gathering.
Camera alignment
We
is
keep
not.
moving forward, opening new doors and doing new things because curiosity keeps leading us down the path. Good morning, one and all present here. On behalf of the MES family, I take extreme pleasure in welcoming today's energized and lively gathering for the MES Month 4.0. Leadership is about empathy. It is about having the ability to relate to and connect with people for the purpose of inspiring and empowering their lives. We are immensely blessed to have Professor K.M. Raghavendran, Chief Executive of MES Institutions, as our chief guest of the day. He did his graduation in science from MES College and pursued his MSc from Central College, Bangalore University, with specialization in nuclear physics. He joined as a lecturer of physics at MES College and served as an associate professor, head of Department of Physics and IQAC coordinator. He served as a member of Board of Studies and examiners in Bangalore University, autonomous colleges like Mount Carmel College, Maharani Lakshmi Ammani College in Bangalore. Also worked in the syllabus framing committee for BSc Physics of Bangalore University. He has served as a chairman of BOE in Physics. He has co-authored textbook of physics for first and second PUC Karnataka PU Board. He was instrumental in setting question papers for physics in COMEDK Karnataka and national standard examinations in physics conducted by Indian Association of Physics Teachers and entrance examination for Kerala State. He has been a regular resource person for teacher orientation programs in physics conducted by PU Board Karnataka. He has delivered over 50 invited talks on physics and other related topics or at conferences and workshops. He is a life member of Indian Physics Association and also served as the Vice President of Regional Council Karnataka chapter. He is also the founder member of Karnataka Physics Association. It is indeed a pleasure for all of us, sir, to invite you for today's event. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. Inspiration comes from within yourself. One has to be positive. When you're positive, good things happen. I extend a warm welcome to our beloved principal, Srimati Champa Devi, whose conviction for perfection encourages us to give our best in every endeavor we take up. Welcome, ma'am. I would also like to welcome our Vice Principal, Srimati Saupandi ma'am, who inspires and encourages all the students. Welcome, ma'am. A hearty welcome to all the alumni students. And my warm welcome to all the teaching and non-teaching staff of this esteemed institution. Last but not the least, I cordially welcome all the delegates of MES Month 4.0. Again, I welcome one and all.
Thank you, Ms. Madhumata. I request our principal to address the gathering.
Morning, children. Yes, welcome to all my alumnus and all of you who are eager to see what your seniors will guide you into. A warm welcome to all of you, and I actually thank my team of social studies teachers in making this particular MES MAN 4.0 or 4.0 instrumental. Thank you so much, my team. And I actually expect many more from your side. And a warm welcome to children. And I think you have done your homework regarding MAN. Do you know what it is? Yes. And while going through it, did you feel why? What was the reason, or why should I get into it, or did this thought come to your mind, or did you feel why should I go ahead with it? Yes. So what did you feel? This. Okay, I'll get back to you. See, actually, you people read about United Nations in your social studies. If I'm right, is it in history? Yes, it's in history, and usually we feel history is always a mystery. Yes? Yes or no, children? Yes. To unsolve this mystery, Model United Nations was, or a concept like Model United Nations was devised so that children like you get enthusiastic and learn, or you'll come to know about the functioning. You people feel sometimes some policies are made, and those policies you feel why is it made, what is the reason behind it, and all those things. When you go through these, or the committees that you people take up and go through this and you do your research, you actually come to know the pain that is actually there when a policy is made. Nobody gives or implements a policy blindly. To know this, you people have to research. When you research something, you will become confident in that subject, and you actually become an authority of that subject, and you try to talk about this. And this is what I feel, and this is what is MAN about. A very warm welcome to you children, and let it be a great learning experience to you all, and may you learn many more things from this which will be helpful for you. All the best, and have a nice day, children.
Thank you, ma'am. I request our chief guest to address the gathering.
Morning, all of you. I know you're eager to get the event started, but since I've been invited here for this gathering today, I'd like to share my thoughts on it. So kindly bear with me, and I'm sure that at the end of my address, you will have some takeaways. Um, Good morning, everyone, and once again, thank you, ma'am, for inviting me. Uh, for those who don't know about MUN or Model United Nations, and you might be wondering, what does a physics professor know about MUN? So obviously, I had to Google, I had to search, and with that research, doing some homework here, I want to share my thoughts with you. As most of you by now would have known, that this MUN and what is called as Model United Nation is basically an educational, I would like to use the physics term, educational simulation of the United Nations. The United Nations really started functioning after the Second World War. There was a kind of a precursor to this. You had the League of Nations much earlier to that, but eventually it evolved into United Nations and all its subsets. You have so many of them. You have UNESCO. You have so many things. So why do we do this for children? Why do students have to get involved in such an exercise? There are many other things you can do. You can go onto the ground and play hockey. Right now, I think we are in the semi-finals. We are playing Japan. We beat Pakistan yesterday 4-0. And today, I think we are going to play Japan. So why should we come here and debate on international issues? How is it important to us? So the MUN itself actually offers all the young people, students particularly, a platform, a platform to engage in kind of a diplomatic discourse, I would say, to understand how people negotiate at the topmost level, and to understand other cultures, and to formulate policies that will benefit mankind in general. You need to have a referee in any game that you play. So United Nations in some sense is donning that role, or at least ought to don that role. Okay. There will be conflicts. You can never get away from it. There will be conflicts. There will be disputes. After all, we are humans. And each human being is different, is an individual. Obviously, nations are different, cultures are different, and therefore there are going to be conflicts. It was always there and it will always be there. But you need somebody in between to resolve these conflicts to the satisfaction of one and all. And that is where I think UN plays a very great role. So what am I going to do today? I will just share my thoughts on the significance and probably the importance of a model United Nation for you as children or students of democracy, as students of a world order. Significance, I was thinking about significance and I realized there are several things that you can learn by being part of this exercise. The first thing that came to my mind was there is a lot of possibilities on skill development here. Now, what kind of skill are we talking about? We're talking of a range of skills which would include public speaking. It's very important skill that all of you should imbibe in. Negotiation, it's the order of the day. You need to know how to negotiate. You have to be firm but not rude. You have to take into account everybody's point of view and then negotiate strongly without weakening your position. That's another skill you will learn if you're part of this exercise. Critical thinking is very important. Our decisions are nowadays driven by data and its analytics. So you need to collect data, you need to analyze that data, critically think what the data is telling you, and then put forth your argument. So these are some of the very important skill sets that you will acquire if you continuously participate in these activities. And of course, you will also learn this technique of persuading others. It's a very, very nice skill to have. In fact, it's very good in human relations. How do you persuade your wife? How do you persuade your child? How do you persuade your dad to do something that you feel really ought to be done? One thing is to throw tantrums. It will not work all the time. But a persuading skill, if you can acquire, convince them with very logical arguments, I'm sure everybody will get convinced. So these are the kind of skill set that you will probably get here. And that is one important significance of having this activity called MUN. Of course, the other thing is global awareness. I'm sure that all of you would have by now did some homework and you will be exposed to understanding the cultures of different countries. Before you start actually participating, you need to know the background of that particular topic that's given to you or the particular whatever area you're going to debate on. So in that sense, it will probably help you get a global awareness, which is very much required in today's scenario. You cannot be in a cocoon. India is no longer a small power in itself. It's almost now a global power. And therefore, you need to understand what other countries think about you, what is their culture, what is their perspective on various things. So that's another important skill that you would acquire or an awareness program. And that way, I believe it will enable you to develop a global mindset. It's very important. They say do local and think global. It's very important. You have to think globally today, but you could probably, manufacture it locally, but then you have to sell it globally, right? Therefore, it will probably enable you to develop this global mindset and appreciate, and this I'm very, very, for me, it's very important. It will help you appreciate the cultural diversity that is there. It is very important to recognize this cultural diversity. Our own country is a beautiful example of how culturally different people live together. We have over 1,000+ languages, we have different cultures, we have different religion, but we still, the heart of all Indian is essentially Indian.
Good.
But then this cultural differences ought to be there. It is not our weakness, it's our strength. And therefore, I think this kind of an activity will help you develop that global mindset and cultural mindset also. Diplomacy and negotiation is another skill you're all going to learn. I already mentioned about it, negotiating skill and also diplomacy. Diplomacy is very important. You cannot go in a UN debate and call names, right? But then you will have to make your point across firmly without being very rude. So that's diplomacy. How do you politely but firmly stand up to the values and ideals that you believe in? How do you safeguard your country's stand on a certain issue without compromising, yet being sensitive to the other point of view? You have to be sensitive to others' point of view. You cannot be a dictator all the time. So you need to give and you need to take. That is diplomacy. How do you sit across the table and then say, look, we agree to disagree, but let's come to some common minimum where we feel that it's a win-win situation for both of us. So this kind of skills you will imbibe. Needless to say, people who participate in this and do well eventually would become good leaders. So there's a lot of leadership development that can happen through this program. Research is another thing I believe that this kind of activity will help you understand, because before you come to a debate, you would have done your homework, or you should have done your homework, obviously. You would have delved into what is the historical context of a certain situation, what are the economic data that is there if that is required for your debate, what are the political perspectives that you need to know in order to put forth your idea on this particular concept or whatever you're going to debate today. So this is the kind of research that you ought to do. And then later on in life, you'll realize that any decisions that you take, if it's based on hard, good research, and if it is based on data, then that kind of decision making always helps. And therefore, I believe that this kind of activity will also help you hone that skills of research. Of course, it's needless to say, you will be engaging with real world issues. That's very important. At an young age itself, you need to know what are the issues that plague our world. Okay, you can have one Malala here, or maybe one, what's the other girl who was fighting for the environmental issue, also got a Nobel Prize, I believe. What's her name? Thunberg. Greta, right? So, at an young age, if you are exposed to these global challenges, later on in life, if you occupy positions, and I'm sure you'll occupy positions of power, of importance, one of you may even become the Prime Minister of our country, right? So at a small age itself, or at an young age itself, if you are aware of the global issues and challenges, it's going to really help. So many of these challenges, the climate change, the big issue, people have been talking about it for almost 25 years now. Of course, you have the conflict resolution right now. After so much, more than a year plus, the Ukraine war has not ended. One really needs to know what really is the problem, right? There are so many such global issues. Human rights, it's a huge issue today, right? So one needs to understand all this, and what better platform than MUN to do this. So those are the significance of participating in activities like this. What are the importance? The importance is, of course, many of you would not have yet made a career choice. I know you still have a long way to go. But some of you would be seriously thinking about diplomacy itself. Maybe a career in foreign service, maybe a career in Indian administrative service, maybe a career in politics. So if you really want to do that, this is the age to think about it. This is the age to find out what are the things I need to know if I want to excel. See, it is not enough just to dream of a career. You should really work towards excelling in that career. Some of you would want to become a teacher. Excellent idea. But what it takes to be a teacher, what it takes to be a good teacher, what it takes to be an effective teacher, you need to know. So therefore, this kind of activity will probably also help you in careers that are related to research, diplomacy, and so on. International law is a very big thing these days. People with expertise in international law are in great demand. You have heard of the International Court of Justice, right? So people, normally in the normal courts, people argue for persons, they argue for the government, they argue for the states. But in an international court of justice, when things go for an arbitration, people argue on behalf of the country. Just like we have our own judicial system, the international law has its own system of rules and regulations. It's a very good career to have. So these are skills that you can acquire in these activities, and eventually if you decide to pursue a career in them, it is definitely going to help you. And of course, there is this concept of global cooperation, which should also act at the local level. Our world is increasingly interconnected. I think you all know that. Particularly after the technological revolution, industrial revolution, 3.0 now, we are, whether we like it or not, we are interconnected. What I do today in my mobile can be hacked, can be seen by hundreds of people across the globe. That's the kind of world we are living in. And then we are also connected in order to raise the standards of our people in all ways. We are interdependent. Somewhere down the line, after a few years, I think the whole concept of good friends and bad friends among countries will dissolve. Everybody has to have everybody else. So therefore, this concept of an interconnected world, there I think activity like the MUN will actually nurture in all of you an understanding of what the challenges of the world today are. And that I believe is very good, because at a small age, at an young age, if you understand these challenges, tomorrow when you are in positions of power, you will be able to execute the solutions for them that much more effectively. And then when you debate today, you will soon realize that many issues have solutions only if you collaborate. Collaboration is the key in global diplomacy. In fact, collaboration is the key in any diplomacy. Right? So yesterday we had a debate. Should we go for jailer first day first show? Right? We put it to a vote. And then by 3-1, the vote was lost. We said, no, we'll not go. We'll not go to this. Let us wait for the movie to flop and then we'll go. So it was very challenging for me to tell the others, let's not go today. I have office, Baba. I have to go today. You're calling me to go for a noon show. I will not come. So it took me a lot of persuading skills to convince my son that let's go on a Sunday. By then it will be 3-4 days. So jokes apart, it helps you everywhere, this kind of skills. So this idea of cooperating with one another, working together, is something that you will learn here. Of course, needless to say, the youth of today, it's a very cliched statement, the youth of today are the citizens of tomorrow, and the youth require their voice. 60% of our population are below the age of 40. This has been touted on so much. But is it really going to matter? Or is the 60% of population going to continue to be what the 40% were in the last 75 years? If you really want to make a difference, then I think you should take it up as a challenge and say, look, we are going to be different from our parents. We are going to be different from our teachers. We are going to, kind of now look at the world in a perspective where India matters. My local issues do matter, but something more than that is the nation matters. So for this, you need to really inculcate this whole idea of, taking people along with you. And there as youth, your voice has to be heard. And the first platform, I believe, that will give you this to kind of articulate your views would be this MUN. This cross-cultural thing I already told you, it's important to accept a different culture. Everybody has a place in this earth, right? Everybody has an entitlement to his views. Those are personal views. But then when it comes to a nation, we are governed by certain laws, by the constitution. So irrespective of your cultural differences, everybody is bound by that constitution. So how do you develop this whole, say kind of feeling that I am an Indian, but culturally I like to preserve my cultural identity. That matters, really matters. So I think this will help you that. In conclusion, I can only say that an activity of this kind is very, very significant. It is going to be very impactful for all those who participate. I want more of you to participate in this. You will definitely have a lot of takeaways today at the end of the day. You will have insights into several, I believe, very invaluable lessons that you will learn today. Ultimately, I think in some way, it's going to help you become an informed and a global citizen as you grow up. Madam, I congratulate you for reviving MUN at MES KKPS. I was given to understand that it's been happening for quite some time now. And then the pandemic struck, and then we had some online sessions. And we are now come back to offline. I'm extremely happy. And I wish to see this event become an inter-school event next year, madam.
She strongly believes that one must not give up on anything and that the universe always falls in love with a stubborn heart. She recently received her endowment gold medal from BTU with adds many of her accolades. Welcome, Ruchita Ravindranath. Vaidehi Rishikesh Patel, a starry-eyed dreamer, an ambivert, and a huge astrophile. She is conscientious and hardworking. Good books, poetry, and wise words trigger her interest greatly. Well-aimed and supported by values, her ambitions reflect a healthy self-esteem and a higher power of abstraction. Having been with us since MES Month 1.0, she actively took part in months during her time here too. She has a profound passion for delving into global political dynamics and engaging in thought-provoking debates with individuals of diverse backgrounds to gain insights into a myriad of viewpoints. Welcome, Ms. Vaidehi Rishikesh. Next, we have another ambitious and aspiring youth, Master Balaji, who graduated from MES in the year 2020 and is currently pursuing BTech in Mechanical Engineering at PES University. His interests span a wide range from staying updated on current affairs to delving into the fascinating world of aerospace. He was introduced to the intellectual world of man in grade 8. Since then, he has participated in 9 months and has won a special mention and received a verbal mention too. He has the experience of being the vice chair of AIPPM and the UNSC. He looks forward to engaging with fellow delegates and the executive board members, eager to exchange knowledge and perspectives to contribute meaningfully to the conference's success. Ms. Samhita is currently a second year student in Mount Carmel College pursuing her BCom professional degree. An environmentalist, a bibliophile, she also has a passion for public speaking. She is an active runner and has been attending various months since 5 years, along with being a member of MCC's Month Society. She has also participated in various commerce fests across the colleges in the city and has won accolades for the same. Having chaired similar committees, she believes in passive aggressive style of debate, a strategic lobbying, along with extensive research. She hopes to have an interactive and eventful session. Welcome, Samhita. Prajwal N. Prasad is an industry student, a bibliophile, and a public speaking enthusiast. He has a fascination for all things political and ardently follows current affairs. He is currently pursuing a BTech degree in mechanical engineering at IIT Dharwad. He has been an active runner for 5 years and now he has a special mention to his name by the St. Francis International Month. He believes that speaking up about issues and making a mark is the only way of nipping any problem at its bud. While he is unable to be here personally today, you can be rest assured that he is rooting for all of you. You are taking the first step into the world of dialogue and diplomacy, and Prajwal truly applauds that. He wishes every participant the very best. He will be standing out of the crowd by representing himself through online meet. Welcome, Master Prajwal. Kaushik Gaitonde, alumni of MES KKPS, is an aspiring ECE engineer at Ramaya Institute of Technology. He is an ambitious person and is always curious to know more about science and technology. His first month experience was in class 9 where he participated in NH-MAN as a delegate of Cuba in UNSC. He also participated in the CL-MAN the subsequent year. He has also won the Best Delegate Award in MES MAN 1.0, where he was the delegate of Bihar in the Commission on the Status of Women CSW. He has also chaired the AIPPM and UNHRC. He looks forward to having a really interactive, fun yet informative session with the delegates and wishes them all the very best for the same. Kaushik Gaitonde will be the chairperson of UNHR committee. Welcome, Master Kaushik. Is mightier than the sword. Master Anish Madhyastha has graduated recently from MES, currently pursuing his first PU in Base PU College. He is a very young and enthusiastic manner who has a vivid and bright future. He will be the head of press and co-chair of UNHRC. Welcome, Master Anish Madhyastha. I kindly request Secretary General Master TCS Arvind Srivatsa to address the gathering.
Good morning, Honorable Chief Guest, Principal Ma'am, my beloved teachers, my dynamic peers on the Executive Board, and all dear delegates. It is with immense pride and gratitude that I stand before you as the Secretary General of MES Model United Nations 4.0, a month program which I have been proud to be a part of since its inception. As we embark on this remarkable journey of diplomacy, collaboration, and growth, I'm filled with a deep sense of nostalgia. I almost feel like the same 10th grader that graduated from this very auditorium. As we gather here representing nations and discussing issues of paramount importance, let us reflect on the ideals that the UN stands for. The United Nations was founded on the principles of peace, cooperation, and the belief that dialogue can pave way to a better world. A model United Nations provides us an opportunity to cultivate these skills that will serve us in every facet of life. such as negotiation, critical thinking, and the power of compromise. So, negotiation and compromise strategies in order for you to survive in this world. But it is also a humbling reminder that beneath every resolution, every debate, there are real people and real lives getting up. So that is where magnify the concept of empathy a million times to a global scale and you learn diplomacy. Diplomacy is simply listening to each other without judgment and offering a solution and making the world a better place for each and everyone. So, yeah, so thank you, dear delegates, for being a part of this event. Wish you all the very best. And how many of you are the first time honors here? Very good number because this is specifically for you. I have been in your position. I know how anxious, how terrified you feel because you have no idea about what is going to happen over the next 2 days. I've been there, and all you have to do is be yourself, talk as much as possible, participate, get involved in the committee, and things will happen in there. All the very best. Thank you.
Thank you, Arvind Srivatsa. I kindly request Principal Ma'am to escort the dignitaries to their seats.
happens. We have the blueprint to achieve a better and more sustainable future for all. The Sustainable Development Goals. In 2045, the United Nations 100th year, let's see the change we have implemented today that will shine a light on our children's tomorrow.
Change is coming. The real power belongs to the people.
And I want to turn the question inside out as well. I will not ask, how dare you? Instead, I will ask, do you dare to?
This is the most urgent of times and the most urgent of messages. Now must be our moment for action.
Empty streets have become the new normal during the COVID-19 pandemic. Thousands laid off or furloughed, stores shut down, public gatherings banned, travel restrictions and physical distancing imposed, as a third of the world practices some form of a lockdown to slow down the spread of COVID-19. And all of this is having an impact on our global economy. Industries like airlines, import-export companies, tourism, retailers, events, restaurants, and many other non-essential services have been hit, some harder than others. The United Nations says we may see a $2 trillion shortfall in our global income and a $220 billion hit to developing countries.
Russia's military invasion of Ukraine has not only created one of the world's most tragic humanitarian crises, but resulted in economic devastation that will reverberate far beyond its borders. Ukraine is the largest country by land area entirely in the world, and despite its struggling economy, it was a crucial role in global trade. Like the breadbasket of Europe because of its highly fertile soil, Ukraine is the world's fifth largest exporter of wheat and the fourth largest exporter of corn and barley. It's also the top exporter of silver.
On September 16th, 22-year-old Masa Amini died after being detained for allegedly violating Iran's laws requiring women to wear a headscarf. Iranian authorities say she died of illness, but her family said she fell into a coma after being mistreated by police. Protests sparked by her death have since rallied groups across Iran society, from ethnic minorities to school children and even oil workers. According to human rights groups, clashes with police have killed more than 200 people. But despite the crackdowns and widespread internet shutdowns, videos have continued to emerge, showing how unrest has spread beyond women's rights to a movement that is calling for an end to strict theocratic rule. These demonstrations have now turned into the most broadly supported movement in Iran in more than 4 decades.
Thank you. I request our Chief Guest, Professor K. Bhagavendran Sir, to hand over the gables to the Secretary General, followed by the chairpersons of the respective committees. Master Arvind Srivatsa.
ಅಲ್ಲ ವಿಡಿಯೋ ಸಂಜೆ ಇದೆ ಈಗ ರೆಡಿ ಮಾಡಿರಲಿಲ್ಲ ಸಂಜೆ
Ms. Vaidehi Patel.
ಕ್ಯಾಮ್ರಾ ಇಲ್ಲೊಂದು ಹಾಕಿದ್ದೆ.
Ms. Kamrita. Master Kaushik. I now request our Chief Guest and Secretary General to declare MES MAN 4.0 open.
I declare
Hello.
MES MAN 4.0 23-24 open.
Thank you, sir.
ವಿಡಿಯೋ ಬರ್ತೈತಿ ಯಾವ ಇವ್ರು ಎಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಬರ್ತಾವ್ರಿ ಇವರೆಲ್ಲ
Thank you, sir. I request the participants to move on to their respective committees. Thank you, everyone.
Instagram, mobile Instagram.
Children, please sit in your place first. Sit in your place. Settle down. I request all the mud teachers to be in their committees. Here, Kirti, this row, first line, move, hands back and move. Exams are going on, please don't make noise. Hands back and move. Move to your respective committee, yesterday it has been posted, right? Next, Shalmali, move.
Actually, you know, in the session all done.
Next. Don't make noise, children. Shh. Move. Suti,